Hey everyone, I'm Kevin. Today in the JCR Off-Road Garage, I'm going to walk you through a quick install of our Bronco Overhead MOLLE Panel. So the first thing we're going to need to do here inside the vehicle is remove this windshield visor clip that holds that in up here so we can get the visor back out of the way. You'll need a small pick or flat blade screwdriver to pop this little screw cover open underneath here. And then you'll need a T20 Torx driver to remove the one screw holding this in place. You can go ahead and do that same thing over on the other side. Once you have both of those removed, you can come up here and just kind of firmly grab this and pull down, releasing all those mounting clips. And then what you're going to need to do is actually cut this back flange off between both of these openings. So you're just going to be taking this small, like roughly 1/4 inch section all the way across the center here. So to remove this material, I'm just going to be using our air saw here in the shop. You can get creative if you don't have one of these on something that might be able to cut a little bit of plastic. Just make sure as you're doing this, there is some wiring a little bit farther down in here. Make sure your blade or whatever you're using isn't going to come in contact with that while you're making the cut. So I am actually going to start by using a pair of wire cutters here, just on this outer small rubber piece, because that doesn't cut super easily with my air saw. And then I'll jump back to this to finish up the cut on the plastic. And then I'm just going to take a little air sander and kind of smooth out where I've made this cut. You can also just use a nice sharp razor blade here, as this plastic kind of shaves and smooths pretty easily with just one of those. Now with that plastic cleaned up, you're going to need to remove the innermost bolt on each of these mounts. For that, you can grab this Torx Plus 50 driver from your Bronco toolkit. That should fit these perfectly and allow you to get the bolts removed. With those out of the way, go ahead and grab your front mounting bracket. It's going to install just like this and bolt in place reusing those factory bolts. And then you pretty much just want to push this up tight to the top before tightening these up. So once you have that hardware tight, go ahead and realign and reinstall the clips holding this plastic trim in place. And then make sure that this seal here winds up back over top of that plastic. And then you can go ahead and reinstall those front windshield visor clips as well. So next you'll need to grab an 8mm socket and come right here behind the driver's seat up top and remove this single screw on each side. So once you have that screw removed, you'll take the rear mounting bracket. This longer leg of the bracket is going to mount right here and kind of face forward. You're going to need to find the slot up top that small tab can drop into, and then you can pull this down, line up your hole, and reinstall this screw. Once you have both of those brackets in place, you can grab your rear mounting cross member, kind of carefully slide this in, and it's just gonna sit on the bottom side of that mount, and then get 2 of these 1/4 20 button heads with serrated flange nuts on the top side. Now you can go ahead and get all 4 mounting bolts in for this. Just leave them finger tight for now while we get the rest of this panel installed. Now, this part can either be done before that cross member went in, or still pretty easy to get to right now. We're going to provide you with this clear light that can be installed either here to the bottom face of the cross member to provide a little bit more all-around light, or it can also be installed up here on the top, and there's a big enough window opening that you're still going to get a decent amount of light, but it also shields the sides of that light a little bit so it's not quite as bright to your eyes. That's simply going to be installed with the provided button head bolts and nylock nuts in your bolt pack. So once you have this light in place, the only thing left to do with that is figure out how you want to wire it. The easiest thing to do for sure, especially if you have the factory upfitter switches, is just to tie it into one of those, and then you can easily flip it on and off as you need some additional lighting. So next, you can grab the actual MOLLE panel portion. You're going to want to make sure these bent flanges are going up, and the narrower end of this is toward the front of the vehicle. And then you can simply lift this up into place and start installing those 1/4 20 button head bolts with flange locking nuts. This isn't a terrible spot to just grab the help of a friend real quick, but it obviously can be done with one person. Once you have all that hardware in place, you can begin to tighten those up. So you'll just need a 5/32 hex. You can come back here, make sure that panel is pretty centered on the slots. Go ahead and snug those up. You can come back out to the sides here on your cross member, tighten these up as well. And then do the same thing right up here at the front mounting bracket. So once you finish tightening up all that hardware, your install is complete. Now we do want to mention that this is going to install exactly the same on a 2-door or a 4-door Bronco. So if you guys have any questions about this install or any other install on a JCR Off-Road product, you can go ahead and reach out to us. You can shoot us an email at info@jcroffroad.com or give us a phone call at 269-353-1184.